When a restless prince disguises himself among the common folk, he meets a humble yam seller's daughter whose spirit proves stronger than any royal decree. Will their courage and love break the barriers set before them, or will the king's impossible challenges tear them apart forever? Adaeze stands before the fury of King Ezeudo, who seeks to separate them by assigning her 3 impossible tasks, her heart pounding as he announces the tasks. Should she fail, she would be banished from the kingdom, never to see Prince Obinna again. The first task was to gather the morning dew into a single clay pot before the first rays of sunlight touched the earth. The second was to separate a mountain of mixed grains by nightfall. And the third, the most dangerous of all, was to fetch water from the river of no return, a place whispered about in fearful tales. Once upon a time, in the heart of an ancient Igbo kingdom, nestled between rolling hills and vast, endless forests, there lay a thriving village. In this village lived a young woman named Adaeze, the daughter of Neka, a well-known yam seller. Her mother's stall stood proudly in the marketplace, always brimming with the largest and freshest yams. Traders from neighboring villages traveled long distances just to buy from her, for it was said that Neka's yams carried the blessings of the ancestors. Adaeze was a girl of unmatched beauty, with eyes like the evening stars and skin that glowed like the golden suns after the rain. But beyond her beauty, she possessed a spirit as strong as the mighty baobab tree. She was kind, hardworking, and full of life. Yet, deep within her heart, she longed for something more, something beyond the daily rhythm of buying, selling, and fetching water from the river. Now, in the grand palace that stood at the highest point of the kingdom, a different kind of life unfolded. Prince Obinna, the only son of King Ezeudo, was being groomed to take the throne. The young prince was a striking figure, tall, strong, with a voice that carried authority. But despite the riches and power laid at his feet, his heart felt caged, trapped within the golden walls of the palace. He yearned to see the world beyond his royal chambers, to walk among his people, to feel the earth beneath his feet without the weight of his title pressing down upon him. One fateful day, the restless prince, desperate to escape the suffocating expectations of the palace, disguised himself in the garments of a commoner. With nothing but a simple wrapper tied around his waist and a woven basket slung over his shoulder, he slipped into the bustling marketplace, blending into the crowd. It was there, in the heart of the market, amidst the clamor of traders and the scent of spices, that he saw her, Adaeze. She stood at her mother's stall, her hands expertly sorting through the yams, her laughter like music dancing through the air. Something within him stirred, a feeling he had never known before. As he approached the stall, he cleared his throat, trying to steady his voice. "Good day, fair maiden. I have never seen yams as fine as this before." Adaeze looked up, her deep brown eyes meeting his. There was something different about this stranger, though she could not quite place it. He was dressed like a common man, yet he carried himself with an air of importance. "Thank you, kind sir. My mother and I take great care in selecting only the best from the harvest. Would you like to buy some?" And so, a conversation began. Day after day, Prince Obinna found an excuse to return to the market, each time finding himself drawn deeper into Adaeze's world. They spoke of their dreams, of the future, of the burden of expectations. She told him of her longing to see beyond the village, to explore the great rivers and forests beyond the horizon. He shared his struggles of being born into royalty, of how he longed to make his own choices. But in a village where tongues wagged faster than the wind, it was not long before their growing bond reached the ears of King Ezeudo. When the king learned that his son had been mingling with a mere yam seller's daughter, his fury knew no bounds. King Ezeudo scorned Prince Obinna. A prince does not lower himself to the company of commoners. You are to marry a princess, not some girl from the marketplace. But Obinna, emboldened by love, stood his ground. He declared that he would not marry for power or position, but for love. Furious, the king devised a test, 3 impossible tasks for Adaeze to complete. Should she fail, she would be banished from the kingdom, never to see Obinna again. The first task was to gather the morning dew into a single clay pot before the first rays of sunlight touched the earth. The second was to separate a mountain of mixed grains by nightfall. And the third, the most dangerous of all, was to fetch water from the river of no return, a place whispered about in fearful tales. That night, Adaeze sat outside her mother's hut, staring at the moonlit sky. Could she truly overcome these trials? Or was she doomed to lose the man she loved? Morning came quietly, the horizon painted with gentle hues of purple and pink. For the first task, Adaeze needed to collect the morning dew in a single clay pot before the sun's first rays broke over the land. She knelt in the fields, the cold dew soaking her feet, her hands cupped around a small rag made from finely woven palm fibers. Carefully, she dabbed the grass, transferring each bead of dew into the clay pot. But the dew formed so slowly and vanished so quickly, would there be enough before the sun rose? It was then, in that quiet moment, that nature seemed to answer Adaeze's plea. Tiny fireflies flickered around her, and in their luminescent glow, the dew seemed to glisten even brighter, easier to spot. She collected each precious drop, every bead of water drawn to the gentle guidance of the fireflies. Just as the first sliver of sunlight kissed the horizon, Adaeze sealed the pot. She pressed it close to her heart, gratitude coursing through her veins. Task 1 was complete. King Ezeudo's voice trembles with controlled anger and disbelief as he inspects the pot brimming with fresh dew. Impossible. How did you achieve this? Adaeze bows her head respectfully, and answers, my king, with determination and the blessings of our ancestors. The king, though seething, could not deny her success. He signaled for the second task to begin, a mountain of grains, heaped as high as the palace walls, mixed with stones and chaff. The order was simple. By nightfall, every grain must be separated, millet from corn, beans from rice, every last pebble removed. Word of Adaeze's trial spread quickly through the village. Whispers of her first victory sparked hope among the common folk. One by one, they came, friends, neighbors, even curious strangers, to see if they could help. Despite the king's strict warning that no one else must interfere, the people found their own subtle ways to lend a hand. Some pretended to stroll by, kicking aside stray stones. Others hummed ancient work songs to keep Adaeze's spirit high. Little children darted in to remove bits of chaff when the palace guards weren't looking. Even a flock of wild guinea fowls, attracted by the scattered grains, pecked away at the mix, unwittingly separating them. And Adaeze labored ceaselessly in the sweltering heat, her muscles aching, sweat sliding down her brow. Yet her determination never faltered. By the time the moon rose over the palace rooftops, the mountain of grains had been perfectly separated into neat sacks. The guards reported this miraculous feat to King Ezeudo. His eyes blazed with frustration, but he could not refute what he saw. King Ezeudo's voice echoed through the courtyard. Very well. You have passed the second trial. But do not celebrate yet. The third task will seal your fate. The air grew still with foreboding as the king declared the third and final test, to fetch water from the fabled river of no return, a place shrouded in mystery and dread. Many who had ventured there never came back, and those who did return haunted, as though they had seen the gates of the spirit world itself. At dawn's break, Adaeze set off with a small calabash and a firm resolve, her mother's worried eyes following her every step as she walks beyond the village boundaries, past farmlands and clusters of palm trees. The path grew narrower, the forest darker. The thunderous roar of rushing water guided her deeper into the unknown. She soon found herself at the edge of the river of no return. The waters churned ominously, swirling mist dancing over the surface. Strange shapes seemed to drift in the fog, were they spirits, illusions, or something far more sinister? Standing there, fear weighed heavily on her heart. But Adaeze was not alone. For in tales older than memory, it was said that the ancestors watched over those who ventured forth with pure intent. And so, with trembling resolve, she prepared to face the greatest challenge of her life. I must do this, for love and for my future, Adaeze said softly to herself. Would she succeed where many had failed? Could her love for Obinna and her faith in the ancestors guide her safely through this trial? With every heartbeat echoing in her ears, Adaeze took one brave step forward. She gathered her courage, clutching the calabash against her chest as she edged closer to the water's tumultuous flow. Each wave churned with an otherworldly roar, as though guarding the river's depths. In the gloom beyond the mist, she glimpsed a faint, shimmering light, a spirit or an ancestor, she could not tell. Heart pounding, Adaeze whispered a prayer of protection. Suddenly, the raging waters seemed to calm, just enough for her to step onto a slick rock and lower her calabash. Carefully, she filled it with the murky, swirling water. The moment the calabash brimmed, the river thundered again, as if warning her that her time was up. Balancing on trembling feet, Adaeze turned to go back. Her body swayed precariously as a powerful current swept past, threatening to drag her in. Clutching the precious calabash, she willed herself forward, step by cautious step, until she staggered onto the muddy bank. Exhausted but victorious, she breathed a prayer of thanks to the ancestors. Word spread like wildfire. Adaeze had returned from the river of no return, alive and bearing its water. The crowd parted to let her through. Even King Ezeudo could not hide the astonishment on his face as she offered the calabash. King Ezeudo takes the calabash, his voice trembling with shock on his face. You have done the impossible thrice. No one can deny your courage and resolve. Prince Obinna steps forward, standing beside Adaeze. His voice resonated with pride. Father, let it be known that I choose this woman, not for her lineage, but for her brave heart and unbreakable spirit. King Ezeudo, struggling with the weight of his pride, finally lowers his head in acceptance. I see now that true worth is not found in titles or riches. You have proven yourself worthy, Adaeze. May the ancestors bless your union. And so, in that moonlit courtyard, the yam seller's daughter and the king's son found their destinies entwined, not through power or position, but through love, bravery, and an unyielding heart. In time, Prince Obinna ascended the throne, with Adaeze by his side. Their story became a legend told beneath moonlit skies, where elders gathered children at their feet and spoke of the girl who conquered impossible tasks and the prince who defied tradition for love. From that day forward, the kingdom prospered under their just and compassionate rule, reminding all who listen that it is not birthright or wealth, but the strength of one's character and the depth of one's heart that truly shape a destiny. This tale teaches us that courage, perseverance, and a humble spirit can overcome even the greatest challenges. When we judge others by their hearts, rather than their status or appearance, we open ourselves to the extraordinary gifts they carry within. Thank you so much for watching this retelling of our heartwarming and inspiring African folktales. If you enjoyed this story and would love to hear more, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps keep these timeless tales alive for future generations. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who was your favorite character? What did you learn from the story? Until next time, stay tuned for more enchanting stories, and remember, our ancestors' wisdom shines brightest when we keep their traditions close to our hearts.